We're going to do a quick change of pace here because if I have to follow any more of the stuff that's happening in Washington right now, I think my head will probably explode and your guys' might as well. So this could be a nice little, sidebar. I think saying things are a distraction is a little bit, stupid. I don't think you guys are children, and I think you're obviously intelligent enough to make your own decisions on the matter. But this is just, like I said, how about a sidebar? We're going to be talking about China. Okay, something that's going to be at the forefront of a lot of our minds, and more specifically, Jack Ma. Okay, the man is worth $53 billion, and if you don't know how he accrued that $53 billion, is because he is the founder and CEO. I'm pretty sure he's at least a high-ranking, however high-ranking a Chinese business can be, because as we all know, if you're a successful business in China, the CCP owns and can seize total control of your business at a moment's notice, as well as a couple of other businesses as well. But Jack Ma was actually sort of critical of Xi Jinping in late October and has been missing from action for 8-9 weeks at this point, and apparently CNBC's David Faber reports that, he's just lying low. Now, there's three very obvious and three very likely scenarios that could have happened right now. Okay, Jack Ma is either dead. I think that's the least likely of everything, but when it comes to China and the CCP, you don't quite know what the hell is going on right now. He's lying low, like as being said right now. He's worth, like I said, $53 billion and can take his family and all close associates and just kind of jet off to an island for a minute and wait for all the hubbub to slow down. Or something else that is also very likely and probably the most advantageous to the CCP. Okay, maybe he's been detained. Okay, maybe that's what lying low means right now. And he's being presented with an opportunity by the CCP to say that, hey, you know what? Maybe that criticism that you levied against Xi Jinping is probably not the best thing for your health, and maybe for these several other people that we have in your Alibaba and Ant group, and maybe you wouldn't like to see anything bad happen to them now, do you? Maybe you would like to become somebody who is a lot more, in support of the CCP and China's practices. And as you are such a successful man, I would think more people should be able to know of the prosperity that the great Chinese government has afforded you. I think that is fairly likely, probably a strategy that would definitely work out in the CCP's favor, as they're going to become a much more invasive force into all of our lives going forward. Boy. Anyways, like I said here, CNBC's David Faber reports amid concerns over the tech entrepreneur's lack of visibility the last few months. It turns out he's been keeping himself out of the limelight intentionally after he gave a speech in October that appeared critical of China's financial regulators, who in turn shut down the record-setting initial public offering of Alibaba's sister company, Ant Group. So the Ant Group, I'm not too familiar with what they're doing, but they were going to be going public, and at the announcement of that, Jack Ma had to pull up a different article so we could get some transcripts or at least a little piece of what he was saying in the speech, because I've heard it, but I couldn't exactly repeat it ad infinitum. So here, we got it up for everybody to see here. He called the reform of a system stifled business innovations and likened global banking regulations to an old people's club. Today's financial system is a legacy of the industrial age, Ma said on October 24th in Shanghai. We must set up a new one for the next generation and young people, and we must reform the current system. He had also mentioned how Xi Jinping said that innovation doesn't have to come from one individual, it can come from everybody, something to that nature. But Ma kind of balked at that and said that in order for anything to grow, it needs to come from the individual. And like I said, that's not the exact terminology, but it is fairly close. But he also, at the onset of the speech, noted that maybe I'm foolish, maybe this is a little bit off base, but I am semi-retired, so, and then lays into it like that. And then after that, on October 24th, nobody's seen him. And that kind of just led to thoughts and theories that, okay, one of the three options that I laid out earlier kind of seems likely, because nobody's seen him. He was originally going to be taking a company public, and you think that he'd probably be trying to work on something out there. And the CCP kind of has a history of disappearing people. Kind of like Hong Kong police officers who are influenced by the CCP arrest 50 pro-democracy politicians and activists. We'd have to go back an entire year somewhere around this time when Hong Kong was in the throes of, well, the CCP trying to retake over Hong Kong in a very old, very archaic, I don't know what kind of an agreement. I think Hong Kong had an agreement with the British Empire to maintain a independence of sorts, and that was being reneged upon, and the only force stopping Hong Kong from being taken over by the CCP was the United States. And now with the comfy cooperation Xi Jinping is going to be having with the Democrats, more specifically Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, I feel like we could be in for something like this, because we just seen what Cori Bush, Congresswoman in the House, is suggesting that, oust any of the non-believers. Is this really much of a stretch? I don't know. Yeah, let's dive into this. China has cracked down on dozens of pro-democracy politicians in Hong Kong who opposed Chinese Communist Party in elections last year. Hong Kong police said they arrested 53 Hong Kong Democrats and activists on Wednesday for violations of the state's national security laws. Oh boy, love me some nebulous terms like that. And when they say Democrats, they just mean pro-democracy advocates. The Hong Kong opposition figures were arrested over their alleged organization and participation in the primaries for the postponed 2020 Legislative Council election, according to local media reports. According to a police source that spoke to Now TV, the arrests for alleged subversion, oh, delightful, came after the candidates made a pledge to veto government budgets. Former lawmakers who were picked up in the sting include, I will not be able to pronounce any of their names, but they are right there on the screen for you to read as well. Helena Wong and James To, Jeremy Tam. Those are the only ones that I'm going to go ahead and try to pronounce. Oh, and Raymond Chan and Roy Kwong. Everybody else I would horribly butcher, or it would just sound odd coming from my giant Irish head. According to Hong Kong Free Press, the organizers of the primaries, Benny Tai, was arrested alongside numerous district councillors, including host of people. The paper reports that Robert Chung, executive director of Hong Kong Public Opinion Research Institute, was visited by the police but not arrested. The organization provided technology that enabled lawmakers holding the poll. Police requested his assistance with the investigation. Besides Hong Kong lawmakers, popular activists Owen Cho, Prince Wong, Nathan Lau, Ventus Lau, and Ching Hang, you gotta be fucking with me on that one, were also arrested by police who raided the home of Joshua Wong. Hong Kong Free Press detailed dozens of other arrested figures, which included union leaders and lawmakers. Oh boy, I'm not saying we're there. I'm not saying we're close to being there. I'm just saying that is the end point on this very slippery slope. I think it's been a day or two since I've busted out that one, but I think you guys see this at this point. I don't like it. I will fight hard against it. I just don't know. I think we're potentially fighting a losing battle, but that's not going to deter me for at least trying to do something about this. And to circle back around to Jack Ma there, because that's how we kicked everything off, I think if he comes out, or if he comes back in the next few weeks and he starts touting how great Xi Jinping, the fact that they're going to be overtaking the United States economy by at least 2028, and how that has allowed his business to flourish, it's going to sound a little bit suspect, and it's going to look a little bit off because he's been away for so long. And then that would kind of lead credence to the fact that maybe he was being talked to for the past, very loosely use that term, over the past few weeks in order to re-educate himself as to the virtues and values of the great Chinese Communist Party. And we all know that they have several institutions, little camps if you will, in order to encourage proper loyalty to the party. Also, those types of camps are being set up in New York as well, but we'll get to that maybe tomorrow. Who knows what's going to happen in Washington overnight, but boy, I don't know. I wish we could end on a much more pleasant note today, but I was thinking of doing another video about what's going on in Washington right now, but everything is just developing so quickly, and I don't know how we're going to land in the morning, but fucking who knows. Anyways, guys, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I'm Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.